everybody. Welcome back to Double Your Sales Now. Today, I'm going to be sharing the belief zone. And this is a solo show. It's just me and you connecting. And we're going to talk about how to create a blueprint for making more money, giving back to the organizations you care about, and living an authentic life. And that's what the belief zone is really about moving into a belief zone where you can create any life that you desire. You can create any business you could desire. You can create any income you desire. So excited to dive into this content with you today. If you haven't yet, definitely, please take out a pen, take out a piece of paper, get ready to take some notes, because I want you to dig into this material. A couple of housekeeping notes first. If you haven't yet, please leave us a review on iTunes. If the show has helped you in some way, let us know, give us a review. That way other people can learn about the show and decide if it's for them or not. And we'd love to have more people joining us all over the world. You can go to salescoachnow.com/giveaway after you leave the review, and we've got some cool gifts for you over there. So we'd love to get those to you. Also, if you haven't yet, go to salescoachnow.com/gift. We have a PDF. You can download it, put it on your desk, look at it every day. 6 secrets to doubling your sales. Super easy thing to print out, put it in front of you. It'll help keep you motivated, help bust you through some of those sales blocks. If you haven't joined us at Virtual Sales Camp yet, you know we'd love to have you. And it's virtual, which means you can join us from anywhere, right? As long as you have a great internet connection. So please let us know if you want to come and play. We still have a special price point for you. You can learn more at contact@salescoachnow.com. Email us and we'll get you that information. If you have an event coming up and it's a virtual event and you want me to come and speak, or you want me to do some virtual training for your sales team, definitely let me know. It's easy to do. We'd love to make that happen for you right now. And we're getting a lot of sales teams reaching out who want that extra help. So we'd love to support you with that as well. All right. We also have another great sponsor, which I'm super excited about because our sponsors help keep our show going. So this, our new sponsor is talking to us about how to move forward, right? And she's amazing. So here's what she says. Here's what Susan says. She says, are you a leader who feels like you spend more time putting out people fires than igniting workplace passion and productivity? Are you tired of feeling like you see a clear path forward but can't help others see it? Susan Riesing is a board certified coach who can help you learn and share new skills for taking your team and your career to the next level. If you would love to lead a team whose members trust each other, make clear commitments, and follow through to get them results, Susan is ready to help. Specializing in leadership coaching and communication, including those difficult conversations you may be avoiding, which we've talked a lot about on the show, Susan will partner with you to meet you where you are in your leadership journey and create a map to the success on your horizon. Using a method honed over more than 15 years of coaching experience, Susan will work with you via phone or video sessions and provide support tools selected just for you. Don't wait. And you can learn more by emailing Susan at susanriesing.com, and that's Susan, Reising.com, for a free consultation. So definitely take advantage of that if that's something you'd like to learn about. All right, with that, let's dig into the belief zone. I originally published this book in 2017, and when I look back at the journey that I've been on personally, I can't help but think how important this journey of shifting my beliefs and moving into a new belief zone has been, not only for me, but for my clients as well. And so if this is something that you've struggled with, or you feel like even now in this, very interesting time as I record this, we're still in the middle of COVID, the pandemic, and, things seem to be changing and shifting every day. And it's hard to know, which direction to take your business. It's hard to know what to pivot, where to pivot, how to pivot, when to pivot, and maybe just to be still for a little bit, right? It's hard to know what to do. Your beliefs matter more than ever. And I felt compelled to, bring some of this content to the podcast to bring some support and to help you move into some lightness and joy again, because I don't know about you, but I know for me, it's been a heavy time. It's been a challenging time to, sometimes stay as focused on the business as we need to as entrepreneurs. And then within that, there've also been these great breakthroughs for our clients, and even in our business, of making those shifts, making those pivots that have helped keep our business going or taken it to that next level. And so I'm going to take you through the 7 steps to move into a new belief zone. And, I want you to take each step separately and really think about, what that step means for you and what it's calling for you to do right now. Because it's not, I don't believe in coincidence. It's not a coincidence that you're listening to this podcast or watching this podcast right now. There's something that needs to transform for you. There's something that needs to be shifted, or you wouldn't be listening to this moment. So the idea of, the belief zone was born from my experience as an NLP certified coach. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. The first belief that I ever changed was a belief that I had to work physically hard to make a lot of money. Like I just had to work really hard. I know this is a common belief. I didn't know it at the time when I changed mine, but now working with a lot of clients, I've seen that this is a very common belief and that it's easy to feel like, you have to work hard to make money. Like there's that belief that's out there. And while I believe in, discipline and I believe in consistency, I've learned that hard work does not translate into dollars. You can work really hard and not make any money in your business, at a job, anywhere, right? Like I can think about, I remember, as a kid, I was 12 or 13, one of my first jobs was hoeing beans for my neighbors, like going out and actually hoeing the weeds out of the bean fields. And I made $3 an hour. And at the end of the day, I would get a Snickers bar, which is a chocolate bar for those of you who maybe don't eat that stuff. And I'd get a soda, super unhealthy. We didn't get a lot of those types of things at my house. So the big payoff at the end of a working hard day was, my $3 an hour paid in cash plus this, Snickers bar and soda, which is a big deal. So it's like, I was willing to do this hard work. That was hard work. I grew up on a farm, so I helped bale hay and I threw bales under 110-degree tin roofs. That was hard work. I took that work ethic into corporate America and I worked really physically hard. Now, it did pay off. Like I did make a lot of money, more money than, I was in the 6-figure range by the time I was 23 years old. And I never thought I could make that amount of money. So that was a big jump for me. It was a big shift. It totally rocked my world in terms of, what was possible and how much money I could really make. But with that came even more limiting beliefs. So here I am, I've got this limiting belief that I have to work really physically hard to make any money. And then I had these other limiting beliefs that were floating around, like money doesn't grow on trees, things I'd heard as a child that, from well-meaning people, but these beliefs didn't serve me. Money doesn't grow. Like, what does that even mean? Money doesn't grow on trees? Because actually for some people, money does grow on trees, right? Like for someone who owns an orchard, money grows on trees. And over time, I would start to challenge those beliefs. But so here I was, making 6 figures in my early 20s and working really, really hard with all these other limiting beliefs. And what happened is, not surprisingly, is my health deteriorated. So between the age of 22 to 27, not only did I make 6 figures and then multiple 6 figures, my health deteriorated as well. So my 20s were all about hard work, making a lot of money, reinforcing the belief that you have to work hard to make money, and then I got sick. So then my belief kind of morphed into, when you work really hard and make a lot of money, then you get sick. Like, see, my subconscious was putting that together, because underneath that, I hadn't dealt with my limiting beliefs. I hadn't released them. After that company was sold, I left the corporate world and went out on my own. I was consulting for another company for 6 months. I was highly unemployable. I had no idea what I was going to do. I was out there and I was thinking about starting my own business, but I didn't know how. And I just had so many limiting beliefs about, even doing that. So I finally decided, I realized, and I'd gotten feedback from a lot of people, that I was really good at leading and coaching sales teams. I was really good at helping people break through their limiting beliefs about what was possible for them and how much they could sell. And so that's when I started my first company called Potential Quest Inc. It was a coaching company. And I realized very quickly that all the clients that were coming to me were clients who were struggling in sales. And so that, I just started to become known for that. And that became my thing. I was helping people bust through their sales blocks, their sales limits, their financial limits to get to that next level. And about that same time as I was launching my company, I decided to get a master's degree. Like when I do it, I'm just going to do all of it, right? So I decided to get a master's degree in marriage and family therapy, psychology, counseling psychology, because there wasn't a master's degree at the time that I could find in coaching. So I decided to get that degree just to kind of round out my knowledge and my ability to help people. And then at that exact same time, I found out about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And there was a program in San Francisco, California, at the NLP Institute of California that would help me get not only certified as a coach, but also certified as an NLP coach. And I wanted both. Like I wanted the certification as a coach because I thought that was important credential as I was growing in my coaching career. And I also wanted the NLP part because when I talked to the owner of the organization, she told me how powerful NLP was, how powerful it had been, in her life and how it helps her help clients. I knew a little bit about Tony Robbins at that point and that, his background was in NLP as well. And I could just see how our words, our language, right, how that impacts our actions, which ultimately impacts our emotions and then the results that we get. And so I knew that there was something powerful there. I didn't fully understand it, but I knew I needed to know more. So I went to the NLP Institute of California and became a certified NLP coach. And I'll tell you, like it was a 4-month program. And we received, the training, and then we would practice, and then we would, coach each other, and we would be coached right back and forth. And so it forced me to do a lot of work on myself, which as a coach, like I think is a requirement, right? If you're gonna be a coach or a therapist or in any helping profession, a healer, like you gotta work on your stuff first, right? And so that's what I did. And the first limiting belief that I worked on was the belief that I had to work physically hard to make any amount of money. And I shifted that belief. I'll never forget it. It's in my books. I talk about it. I shifted that limiting belief to money flows to me easily and effortlessly every day. That was it. Money flows to me easily. And I took on that new belief. Let me tell you something. Not only does money flow easily and effortlessly to me in my business, money flows easily and effortlessly to me everywhere. And it's funny because our son who's 7 now, finds money everywhere. And I let him, even though sometimes it's a little gross. I'm like, oh, where are you picking that penny up from, right? Or where's that quarter coming from? There's dust on it, whatever. I want him to have the belief that money can show up from anywhere, that money can flow easily and effortlessly at any second. And it's way beyond, like my husband and I have been in real estate, we've owned real estate, we've been in other business ventures, and like I could tell you story upon story of how money flows to me easily and effortlessly every day. So you're welcome to take that belief, by the way, take on that new belief. Once I shifted that belief and saw the results of that and saw what started to show up around me, because it's not just shifting the belief, right? It's like you've got to dig into the subconscious and take on that new belief and then start to look for the evidence that that new belief is true. Once I started to do that, right, all of a sudden so many things started to shift for me. So this realization, this knowledge kept growing. And a lot of the work that I do today and that we do with our clients is around shifting their beliefs, because I can teach sales and business strategy. I can teach you how to scale your business all day long. But if you have a limiting belief about how much money you deserve, how much money you can make, how much money you can handle, if you have limiting beliefs around that, it doesn't matter how much strategy you have, you will not bust through that ceiling. Or if you do, you will do for a month and do it for a month and you'll go right back to where you were. We call that a financial set point. So you'll go right back. And so it's been just fascinating to see, as we can shift our clients' limiting beliefs, how they move. And if you've been a listener of the show for a while, you've heard a lot of our clients talk about the 1 or 2 limiting beliefs that they shifted that were super impactful to their level of success and what's happening now. And what I started to then realize is that when you shift a belief, you move from your comfort zone, because really a limiting belief isn't bad. It just keeps you safe and it keeps you stuck exactly where you are. So when you move from that limiting belief, that comfort zone, and you let it go and you take on a new belief, you're actually moving into what I call a new belief zone, which is why I created and wrote the book, The Belief Zone. And when you move into that new belief zone, okay, then you suddenly start to see opportunities that have always been around you, but you didn't see before because you were in your comfort zone. It's hard to explain until you've had that experience. An example would be, we have clients who want to move from 6 figures to 7 figures, but they have a lot of limiting beliefs about why they can't. But when we can get to the core of one of their main limiting beliefs about deservability, or that there's enough clients, right? That they move out of scarcity into prosperity. Like once we can move them into that new belief, what happens almost instantaneously is they see the way to get there almost right away. Okay, so it's been around them, right? Like you don't desire a 7-figure business without a way to get there. The way to get there exists. And I've learned this from so many coaches who talk about spiritual laws and prosperity. And it frustrated me so much in the beginning. So I was like, what does that even mean? I get it now. The second I take on that new belief, I'll see that the opportunities were already there. However, okay, here's why we call it a zone. When I move, I have to move out of my comfort zone and stay in this new belief zone to be willing to take the steps that are still outside of my comfort zone. And it's often things I don't want to do. It's often things that require me to invest in myself, invest in my business, hire somebody, change a program, raise my prices, pick up the phone. It's all things we don't want to do, right? And so at that moment, you have a choice. You have a choice to stay in your new belief zone or get pulled back into your old comfort zone. And many of us go back, and that's why people don't move forward. So hopefully that helps you understand, why you get stuck and what stops you from moving forward. So my favorite quote of all time is, "You must do the thing you think you cannot do." Eleanor Roosevelt said that. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. And the reason that quote is so powerful is because the thing you think you cannot do is the exact thing that's keeping you stuck right now. And once you push through it, once you do the thing that you thought you couldn't do, there's so much freedom on the other side of that. There's so much power, there's so much potential that then it's like you're set free. So having given you kind of the backstory, I'm going to take you through the 7 steps, okay? And of course, you're welcome to get the Belief Zone. It's on Amazon. That's the easiest place to probably download it right now. Here are the steps. Step number 1 is to clarify, okay? So you have to know what you want first. And we talked about that. And for many of our clients, and for you probably, it's like, what is it that you desire? What do you want to create? Many of our clients, it's a financial number, but there's so much more that goes with that financial number. Why do you want a 7-figure business? Why do you want a multi-7-figure business? Why do you want an 8-figure business or beyond? Like what is the why behind the desire, right? So knowing why you want that is really important. So clarify, the first step is to clarify what you want. You have to get clear on it. The second step is to write. And this step for so many people seems like a small little thing, right? Brian Tracy once said, he said, "Goals and writing are dreams with deadlines." Writing your goals down brings them into fruition. It starts to make them real. It's the reason I wrote the book, One Great Goal, which is a clarification process to decide what your one big goal is. What is that you really want? Because that can become like your North Star, become your comet for helping you drive to get there. And all of your secondary goals are accomplished once you get to that big goal. So writing your goals down is much more important than you'd ever imagine. One of the other things I love to do with our clients is scripting. And in NLP, we talk about future pacing, or imagining that you've already achieved your goal and then letting your subconscious reverse engineer from that. Your subconscious, when you imagine what it is you desire, doesn't know the difference between what you're imagining and what's actually happening in reality right now. So then you program your subconscious to reverse engineer to help you get there. A simple exercise to do this is to first get really clear on what you want. Let's say in 12 months you want a 7-figure business. Well, let's imagine it's December 31st, 2021 or 2022, whenever you're imagining out, and you've accomplished your 7-figure goal. And so write a journal entry as if everything that you desire has already happened. I cannot stress how powerful it is to do this exercise. We do it with our clients all the time. So you can imagine like writing in a journal, date it December 31st, 2022 or 2021, and then script out, like reverse engineer. You could say something like, I've just had the most powerful 12 months I could ever imagine. I exceeded the 7-figure goal that I had written down at the beginning of the year. I have a team that supports me. I'm working with only my top 20% of clients who see me as the expert, whatever it is. Like you script out that whole piece. It starts to get into your subconscious and powerful things can happen from there. Step number 3 is to get into sync, okay? And that's really about synchronicity. And one of my favorite words, synchronicity, because when you get clear on what you want, You get really clear on what you want and you script it out, right? The steps start to show up. It's almost like, you know, the right person shows up and you're like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. Those are the favorite emails that I love to get from my clients, are the ones that have the subject line, you're never going to believe this. The right person shows up. The book publisher shows up, right? The team member shows up. The top 20% of clients just seem to like start showing up. It's because you've done the work on the front end and you've gotten clear on what it is you desire. Joel Osteen once wrote, he said, you can live your life angry, bitter, mad at somebody, or even guilty, not letting go of your own mistakes, but you won't receive the good things God has in store for you. I love that, because working on ourselves, giving ourselves permission to have what we desire, writing it down allows synchronicity to start to show up. And so I encourage you to take these steps to get into sync so that you can start moving forward. All right. And by the way, a great way to move faster into synchronicity is to create a gratitude list. Everyone I know says this, but there is something so incredibly powerful about connecting to what you're grateful for. It's like an almost instant shift. And when we feel great, we attract great things. Great things start to show up. So I want to give that to you. And I want you to think about, like, you know, how often do you think about what you're grateful for? What would happen if you kept a gratitude list, right? A gratitude journal. Even 5 to 10 things that you could write down every single day could be powerful. Step number 4 is to shift. And this is, you know, we've already talked about this at some level, but it's not just shifting one limiting belief. It's about being all in on the journey of continuing to make the limiting belief shifts so that you can continue to move forward. Because it's easy to stop. It's easy to stop and say, like, do I have to shift one more limiting belief? Do I have to keep working on myself? And the answer is yes. Like, as humans, we continue to evolve. You know, limiting beliefs are like, you know, onion layers, and they keep peeling off. And then there's something else that comes up. Some people say next level, new devil, right? I don't really like that, but it's like as you expand or become more visible in the world, there's stuff that's going to come up that you have to work on. And if it were easy, everybody in the world would be an entrepreneur, right? Like, if it were easy, we'd all be billionaire entrepreneurs. The reason we're not is because we haven't done the work yet. We got to keep doing that work on ourselves. So step number 4 is to shift and keep shifting those limiting beliefs. Les Brown said, your level of belief in yourself will inevitably manifest itself in whatever you do. Your level of belief in yourself will inevitably manifest itself in whatever you do. Les Brown. So interesting story about Les Brown. I was speaking in Vegas, gosh, it was almost 7 years ago. I remember because I was pregnant with Luca, who's 7 now, or almost 7. So it was 7 years ago. And I had to follow Les Brown on stage. Okay. So it was a real estate conference in Las Vegas, hundreds and hundreds of people in the audience. And Les Brown had spoken toward the end of the day. He was on for like 90 minutes or a little more than that. I was up next. Okay. Of course, like, I could listen to Les Brown all day. He's so powerful. So I'm in the back of the stage waiting for Les Brown to finish. And he's up there and he's telling these great stories. I mean, everybody's just at the edge of their seats. He's so captivating. He's so powerful. He finishes his presentation, and the woman who was introducing me, I told her, I'm like, listen, like, I don't know how to follow Les Brown, because it was toward the end of the day. It was almost 5 o'clock. There was also going to be a cocktail hour. Dinner was coming up. You know, I was the last speaker of the day. I had, I think, an hour on stage, had no idea like how I was going to keep people in the room, right? No one wants to follow Les Brown. Not only that, but so I told the one that was introducing me, I'm like, the second Les Brown is off the stage, like, run out there and introduce me so people know I'm still coming out. Even though they had said that, like, you know, I'm watching from behind the stage, and I watch Les walk off the stage, but he doesn't, like most of us, exit backstage, right? He exits off the front of the stage, which I was like, that's so cool. What a good idea. Walks through the audience, and people are like high-fiving him. They're like saying, that was great, Les. He's walking back to his table. And I start to watch people get up, right? Because they're following Les. Brilliant. I wanted to follow Les. Like, he was amazing. And so I looked at the person who was introducing me. I'm like, go, like, you got to go. So she runs out there. She introduces me. I don't think I've ever been introduced that fast. And so I was right behind her, and I got on stage right away. And in that moment, like if you're a speaker, you understand this, like in that moment, like you have 0.5 seconds to capture the audience's attention, right? Some people say more than that, but really, I think it's like, if they don't get you at that initial boom, you've lost them. So much pressure. So I run out, and the only word that I could think of that could come out of my mouth was this: stop. I can't make this stuff up. Stop. So I told everyone to stop. And I look out and I realize that what I'd said and what I'd done in that moment, because there are literally people who are mid getting up out of their chair, who are kind of unfolding because they've been sitting for a while, who are, ready to follow less. And they stopped. They did what I told them to do. I mean, when you're on stage, it's very powerful, right? You have a lot of power. And I said, stop. And they did. They looked at me and they were like, why? All right. And so I said, I stopped. I paused. Pregnant pause, no pun intended. I stopped. I paused. Said stop, right? And I made eye contact, and I said, I guarantee if you stick with me for the next 60 minutes, you will make a major shift in your business. That was my guarantee. Like I just had to put it out there. People sat down. I'll never forget that moment, because I had to believe in myself enough to not only follow Les Brown on stage, but to also invite people to stop and stay and listen to me because I had something to say. And I did it. And it was one of those moments as a speaker where I grew like 10 feet that day, because I realized, I could do it. And if you haven't been a listener for a while and you don't know this, like I have glossophobia. Glossophobia is the biggest fear of public speaking you'd ever have in your life. I had that. I had the biggest fear. It was very real at that moment as well. So I've overcome glossophobia, the biggest fear you could ever imagine, to get on stage. So not only did I overcome that fear, but I grew 10 feet that day because I invited an audience to stop and stay. So shift your beliefs. Step number 4 is to shift. You got to keep shifting. You got to keep shifting. And then there were more limiting beliefs after that for me, but I had, like, in that moment I grew. And when you make that shift and then you take action on that new belief, that I took action on that new belief about myself, right? By following Les Brown on stage, you grow. You grow. And you start to get to that next level for yourself. Step number 5 is to act, right? And this is what I just talked about. Like once you shift the belief, then you have to act. You have to act in a new way. You have to take action. I wish I could sit on the couch all day and, watch. I don't really know. That wouldn't be much fun, but the idea. Like we think we can just sit on the couch and manifest whatever we want. We can sit on the couch and come up with great ideas and write them out and start to set things in motion. But then we're going to be required to do. We're going to be required to step on the stages. We're going to be required to launch our podcast. We're going to be required to work with our clients. We're going to be required to actually write the book that we want to manifest, right? There's the act part. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. The universe conspires, and then the universe says, okay, your turn. The universe says, I did my part. Now you have to act. Take that next step. Once you start to get into action, step number 6 is know, okay? Step number 6 is to know and to trust and to have faith. To know, like to be in the knowing that what you desire is coming to you, that it's actually going to happen. Sam Walton, founder of Walmart, he said, high expectations are the key to everything. High expectations are the key to everything. And I love that quote, because the word expect, right? When you expect something, you have a knowing that it's already done, that it's just done, that it's already happening, and you can stop chasing it. Because so often when we set a goal, we're like, well, is it happening? What? It's not happening. Is it happening? It's not happening. What's happening, right? We stay in this question, which doesn't serve us. So letting go is so important, because you can't chase what you want. You have to let go and know and expect that what you desire is coming to you. And last but not least is step number 7, which is create. We are creative beings as humans, right? Like, especially as entrepreneurs, we could create all day. We could keep creating and create forever. I want you to create the business that you want. And so it doesn't mean continue to create every program or product. Like, get really clear on who your top 20% is, get really clear on the products or services that you're going to offer, get really clear and create the right price points that are in alignment with you, so it's stretched but believable at some level, and and create what you desire. Like this moves past, it moves past the actions that we take, and it moves into being that visionary, that creative visionary that's looking out to create the big picture that you know you can create. In the book, The Belief Zone, I quoted Matthew 17, verse 20, because you have so little faith. Truly, I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. Nothing is impossible for you. It's time. Like you're listening to this podcast today because you had to, that's your message for you. Like it's time to move into a new belief zone, and a new belief zone that allows you to create the income, the prosperity, the life, the relationships, the family, the everything that you've been desiring. It's right there for you. Awesome. I want to thank you for taking this journey with me today. Thank you to our listeners all over the world. Again, if you haven't yet, if you love the show, go to salescoachnow.com/giveaway. After you leave us a review on iTunes, we have some free gifts for you over there. Go to salescoachnow.com/gift to get our free gift so we can help you double your sales this year. That's it for now, everybody. I wish you your most epic month yet.